This is red cabbage, kapusta modra. I think, correct me if I'm wrong. This is a super common side dish in Polish cuisine. If you're new here, I'm cooking through this cookbook. We're gonna do every single recipe, and I'm doing my best to re-authenticate it. All right, this one was a little bit harder to, we're gonna say, authenticate than I imagined. The book translation means red cabbage, which to be fair is accurate. But when you start looking up red cabbage, as you can imagine, a huge variety of recipes start popping up. So it took some time for me to kind of narrow down what this one is most closely related to, and it is kapusta modra. Both titles technically translate to red cabbage. From what I can tell, modra is more of an old school regional word, and using that one specifically ties it to this dish, where if you use the title in the book, it's going to be a little more broad and all-encompassing. So why did the authors choose to use one word over the other? It was likely a way to make the book a little more accessible for Polish Americans who may not have been fluent in the language anymore. So once I narrowed down to search this as kapusta modra, I still found so many different variations. And that's pretty common, right? Because we all cook a little differently in our own homes. Two things definitely stuck out that I didn't see in any of the Polish recipes, and that was the use of red wine and the use of flour. Those two things seemed like very Americanized versions, so I took those out, and then I used the book recipe and kind of blended it with real world recipes that I was seeing every day across social media. So I'm hoping this version brings things a little closer to the roots of the dish. But it's also important to remember that this cookbook was written specifically for Americans in a post-war economy. A lot was different back then. But today we're pretty lucky because we get to learn from people around the world in real time, and we get to see how these dishes are actually made from the places they come from. So I've tagged a few Polish creators who inspired this version of the dish that I studied, and I hope you enjoy. Thanks for being here.